Hello, I'm Michael Forrest, and today's devlog is about my recent user testing and some easy fixes I made. So I recently started doing a weekly webinar to get people to spend a bit of time on an exercise on a Zoom call with CueCam, basically my app, with me there to help. So I thought this would be valuable to help people understand my app, but I also had an ulterior motive, which was I wanted to learn from it by watching what people struggle with when they get started with the app. So maybe people sensed this motive, or maybe it was just a run of holiday Mondays, but not many people came to the first couple of sessions. And then I had this idea to sweeten the deal with like a punch card like this. So basically, if you come to 5 sessions, then you get a free month of my app. So and it seems like that actually did do the trick. And on Monday, instead of like 1 or 2 people turning up, I had like 6 or 7, which was just the right amount. And so I'm able to start punching people's cards like that. So that's what I did. And then from that session, I spotted a couple of things, and that's what I'll just show you. And it's all quite specific to my app, but hopefully you can get some ideas of the level of stuff you might want to change. So when I'm working in CueCam, I have some pretty ingrained muscle memory at this point, and my screen tends to look something like this. So I've got my script here, I've got my cards, I kind of know that that's a preview of that. I've dragged that, well, I usually paste pictures in, but this is the one I just showed you. I just know what everything means. All my stuff's conveniently arranged up there. There's the play button, the record button. And, I think this is definitely an improvement on previous versions of CueCam, but because it sort of takes cues from Keynote and things like that. But there is still, a little way to go, because, I did notice that when people when new people come onto a new document, it looks like this. And, for me, when I look at this, I'm like, right, blank slate, let's get started. What do I want to talk about today? But, for new users, it's not really giving the same vibes. There's a rectangle. You've got to basically know to click in this box and start typing, and what that does, because there's no indication of the fact that that's going to create a teleprompter cute script. You've got to sort of go up here, or like me, you've got to know to press Command Enter. So yeah, it's when I saw someone actually looking at this for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness, how have I missed this? But this is just what happens. You're too close to your product. So I sort of set this exercise of, can you turn a blog post into a CueCam script? And one of the first things I saw was, okay, someone pastes it in, and then they end up with tons, this massive title, because this is marked up a whole line of text. The card is completely overflowing. And I'm explaining what a cue card is, and trying to sort of get people into the right mindset. And I feel like I'm saying, oh, you're using it wrong a lot. And it just felt a bit weird. And, what's this thing? So there's all that kind of stuff. And then I also found myself fielding questions about some really basic stuff, like, can I crop my main camera? So, someone was using Camo to crop their camera, because CueCam wouldn't crop it will crop the secondary camera, it will crop your desktop, but it won't let you crop the main camera. And, I'm sort of explaining, well, you're supposed to use your iPhone, and then you can position it much better than your Mac's built-in webcam. And, and then it gives you a teleprompter, and it gives you all this other stuff if you do it that way. And they're like, yeah, but it's a bit of a faff before a call. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. And then another one was, can I change the picture-in-picture position? So I've just made CueCam have the picture-in-picture in the bottom right, and then you can just see where it is. So that's what I'm explaining. I'm saying I put it down there, and then, but when you're sharing your screen, you can see that it's there, so you can, make sure that you're not covering anything up. It's really clever. But, we're sort of, and I also had this idea in my head that I wanted to make it sort of draggable to anywhere like the Apple one is, but that would mean kind of taking an NS window that syncs its position with the bubble, and then I run the risk of putting an overlay over the entire screen that makes nothing clickable on your Mac, which would be a disaster. But then from that conversation, I just realized I was overcomplicating it, and sometimes you just want to be top right, bottom left. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. So that's just a menu option then. So along with that, those conversations, I also just watched this interview with Johnny Ive, where at one point he talks about the idea of simplicity and how just stripping things away doesn't necessarily give you a great product. you also kind of have to give it something nice, like, so, you know, like rounded corners, or I never liked the rounded corners, but, you know, the color, you know, all those beautiful details in the Apple products that he was involved with, you know, in the packaging he's talking about. It's you can't just take things away, you just end up with something very sparse and sort of austere. And I think that was kind of what I was verging towards. And I also remembered another conversation. I was thinking about how if you can't make something easy to understand, you can still make it beautiful and appealing so that people do feel like coming back, even if it is a bit complicated. A non-musician friend of mine talking about how much he loved the design of this, the Teenage Engineering OP1, this is the Field actually, it's the new one, sort of described it as like a mysterious, seductive foreigner who you don't understand what they're saying, but you really want to get to know them. And this is something we can do. We can make things complicated, we can still make them beautiful. So just, you know, it just means, you know, there's that I can think about, as well as just simplifying and removing complexity. So yeah, I had a bit of a think about it, and I'm just going to show you a couple of really simple changes I made, which, you know, this isn't changing the world, but I'm hoping it kind of moves things in the right direction. So if we kind of go into demo mode, I'll show you, so this is what a new document looks like now. So one of the first things is, okay, we've got this card, and actually when you make, I'll actually make a new document. One of the first things is I just put some text in there in the new document. Edit this cue card to start your script. Okay, it's a cue card. And then instead of having to kind of know to go up there to add another one or press Command Enter, have a button to add a new card. But also a little question mark on that button. What is that? What is a cue card? So I just drew a little thing, you know, a little picture, and I just explained it lets you build a script from a sequence of cue cards. And you can use that with a teleprompter, or use your phone as a webcam, and then you'll be able to place your cue cards in your eye line. And just sort of said they shouldn't usually be more than a paragraph, and any longer, you know, they might not fit and your eyes will be moving too much. So just like get that basic information up there. And then the next thing I did was, like, I have this rollover interaction when you've got stuff in there, but I added okay, if you haven't got anything on there yet, I'm just going to put up the basic stuff. And I had a thing, I thought this would be a bit more of a grid, but actually, you know, I realized, what are the main things? People want like title and some bullet points. They want maybe, you know, a lower third, hello, you know, so okay, let's just make that a button. Add another card. Okay, you want to maybe share an app, so you can go into there and it gives you, it lets you like share which app you want. That's not going to work in demo mode. Or share a website, and so that just like pops up the share the website thing. It pops up the URL that you can paste something in. So just like a couple of basic things so that you don't have to sort of immediately know to go into the video. And also it says, you know, drag images and videos here or onto cards. So it's just telling you, okay, you can drag stuff in here and it looks. And then also I've put like, you don't need to share something on every card, just to sort of remind people. And then more options in the toolbar above. So just something that's like in this empty space that kind of just points people in the right direction. I think this is already, I hope, kind of like helping people to kind of see what the point of all this is. So I also, you know, the other thing I did, if we just have a look at the, you know, if I do go to something with a share, if we put that as a full screen, then we'll get picture in picture. But I just, in that view menu, there's just picture in picture circle, top right. Okay, cool. Now it's in the top right. Like that did not need to be a whole complicated thing. You know, bottom left, fine. You know, we're sorted, and let's just, you know, that did not need to be complicated. And you can imagine it wasn't that much code. Yes, I had to like make sure that this preview synchronizes and the camera puts it in the right, and I had to do a little bit of fiddling to make it work. But it was like much less than like hacking Mac OS to make stuff draggable. And the other one was. Yeah, the crop thing. So if we go into if we sort of look at camera settings, now I've just made it so that you can, like, it just says here, pinch and drag to crop. You probably can't see that. And just like lets you like crop in on that camera, button to reset it. And like that, you know, someone's happy. they don't have to run camo anymore just to like crop their FaceTime camera. So, you know, easy stuff. So, you know, it's just really some simple quick fixes that I've made on the basis, but how I came to those realizations. You see, like I've been working on this for 2 years, but why was that first use experience like that? It was just because I'm too close to the thing, I'm not seeing it through the eyes of new users, and I just need to sort of find ways of spending time with people that I haven't already, you know, been working with for ages. So the other part of this is it's not enough just to change this stuff. I need a measurement to see whether it's having any effect. So I'm actually, I haven't done this yet. I'm going to add a new experiment to my dashboard. So I have like analytics that I built for myself. I've got another series that I'm starting on this channel where I'm showing how to build a dashboard, which maybe I will show you the dashboard, but I just need to make sure that when I go to it, it is redacted, hide, sensitive equals 1. So if I just like land on that and we take a look, I'm hoping I can, it's trouble is it takes a minute to load and I need to optimize it, but I'm just going to show you what my dashboard looks like. 1, 2, 7, let me just, so that's loading. Well, I'll just show you. So you see here, like this is the dashboard. It's got like my numbers, charts, and then I've got my what I care about is total revenue, average daily users, and like you know who's you know, an experiment that I'm running. So I'm going to add a new experiment. This, by the way, it's got my sales funnel, it's got my numbers. So I think you know, I am doing a series to sort of show you how to make one of these of your own. But yeah, what I'm going to do is basically just track the percentage of people who buy CueCam versus the number of people who download it. Because I'm seeing like quite a few downloads, but you know, I think I can then start to improve that number of purchases. So like we attract people in, now I know they've got it on my computer. It's like, okay, I don't want to like lose people straight away. So yes. That is me talking about, you know, how I approach some user testing, a little trick that I found to get people to turn up, and like the changes I've made. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting. And then, as always, we jump to the outro where I show you the script that I just ran through. So Devlog 13, this is what I just ran through. So here's my title card. You see it's just got a bit of text. It's just got... I just accidentally dragged, what did I do? So here it is. So, you know, you see I put some screenshots in. I actually doctored this screenshot so that it wouldn't have the new button rather than go and rebuild it, which you can tell by the, oh, that was the other thing I did. In this like layout thing, I also added in this. So there's a big like picker with all the different layouts, which apparently is being weird right now. So we'll figure that out. So, you know, here's a screenshot of the card. Here is like the quotes. This is actually a screenshot, so I could put myself down there. I didn't share the video today. I just thought I'd show a picture of it, and you can see like the name of the video down there. And yeah, so that's how I presented that with CueCam. One take video. You can try CueCam right now. CueCam.app/download. Thanks very much for watching, and you know, like and subscribe and all that rubbish. Bye.